Okay, actually this is all we had to change in this regression template, and now we're ready to execute the sections one by one to create our model and find out about the final result and the final verdict, whether it's truth or bluff. So let's do it. I'm going to import the dataset first. All right, here we go, well imported, we can have a look. So these are our dataset with the levels as the independent variable and the salaries as the dependent variable. Okay, great. And no need to split the dataset into the training set and the test set. No need for feature scaling because we're using the very popular E1071 library that includes it. And now let's create our model. So I'm going to select this whole section here, press Command and Control plus Enter to execute. Done, regressor created. Great. And now let's predict the new result. Would you like to start by visualizing the SVR results first or predicting the new result? Well, let's actually predict the result because this is the most exciting step, and let's keep the best for the end. But this step is actually very exciting also because we're getting the final prediction, we're getting the final predicted salary. So, it's as you want. If you're doing actually this code by yourself before me, that's actually a very good exercise. So I really encourage you to do this. Choose whatever you want to execute first. It's ready anyway. You don't need to change anything more now. So I'm going to execute that right now. And actually we obtain a predicted salary of $177,000. Great. So remember, this employee who we are negotiating the future salary right now said that its previous salary was 160K, and our model predicted that its previous salary was 177K. So first of all, that's actually close to what this employee said, and besides, it's on the good side of the negotiation, so that's actually pretty good, and we can be satisfied with this result and our model. But to be really satisfied, let's see what's happening with the graphic results. So I'm going to execute this section, and let's have a look at the SVR model. And here it is. I'm going to zoom on it, and better. Okay, so first of all, this model fits very well most of the data points. As a reminder, the real observation points are the red points here, and all the points in this blue curve here, which is the SVR model itself, are the prediction points. So for example, if we're taking this red observation point here, well, the prediction is perfect because the prediction point is the projection of this red point on the blue curve. So it's actually the red point itself because the red point is on the blue curve. So that makes a perfect prediction. But here, for example, if we take a less accurate prediction but still a very good one, then we take the real observation point here, the red point, we project it on the blue curve, and that's the difference between the real salary and the predicted salary, which is here. If we project it back on the y-axis, which contains the salaries. But you can see that for all of these points from this one to actually this one, the blue curve is actually getting very close to the real observation points, the red points, and so the predictions are very close to the real results. But that's for all these points of the data set, except for this one here. This one is left alone, which, by the way, corresponds to the CEO. So I'm sorry for the CEO, but the reason for what is happening here is that this is actually an outlier. Not to call the CEO an outlier, but this is an outlier because, as you can see, this point is actually far from the other points in terms of salaries. The CEO has a much higher salary than the previous positions. So for the SVR model, that's an outlier. And therefore, he actually didn't consider it. It's like it excluded this point in the model by not looking at it and making its predictions on these points here. So that's specifically due to the SVR algorithm itself, but there are a lot of parameters, and you can actually play with the parameters to change the way the SVR model perceives outliers. So for example, these parameters are the penalty parameters, the regularization parameters. It's most of the time well described in the description, and of course the E1071 library includes such techniques. But we're not going to do it here in this tutorial because we actually don't need to get a good prediction of the CEO salary. And remember, what we actually needed was a good prediction of the previous salary of this employee we're negotiating with. And this employee has a level 6.5. And around this point, we can see that the SVR model fits very well to our data set. And we actually get a prediction of 177K, quite close to the real or the mentioned salary of this employee, which is 160K. So that's actually pretty good, and therefore the verdict of truth or bluff according to our SVR model is rather truth.